This is Mr. Marshall, and I'm here at Stony Lane, and I'm here working with a hardworking fourth grader, Emma. Say hi, Emma. Hi. So Emma is reading a biography, and she was thinking hard about all the things that she was wondering about this person that she's reading about. So who was the person that you were reading about, Emma?
Rosa Parks.
Rosa Parks, right? We know that Rosa Parks was a famous person who was very brave. Like one of the things that she did was that in the days when there was something called segregation, right? And segregation means that there were laws that actually meant that people of different races didn't have equal rights, right? And there were all sorts of different rules about segregation, right? And one of the rules about segregation was that African American people couldn't sit in the front of the bus if a Caucasian person or a white person wanted to sit there, right? And Rosa Parks decided that she wasn't going to stand up. She stayed there. She stayed there and she didn't stand up. And so one of the things that we started thinking about with Emma was something called a person's, here's a big word, ready? A person's legacy. Legacy. And a legacy is something that means that even after the person is long gone, something important that they did is still there. That's called legacy. And legacy is something that you can think about when you're reading biography. Okay? So can you tell us what you were thinking, Emma, about the legacy of Rosa Parks? What are some what is, even though she died, um her life still has an impact or a legacy. What is that?
I think Rosa Parks' legacy is that if she didn't speak up for herself or speak up for African Americans, that segregation would still be here today.
Okay.
And
Keep
something
going.
I did was Rosa Parks impacted people to be a part of the civil rights movement, and people would have never have to face segregation today.
Wow. Wow. Did you hear that? So when we think about when we think about segregation, right? We know that Rosa Parks did something important to make segregation end, right? So thinking about a person's legacy is an important part of reading their biography, right? So let's think about how that might happen in other people's biographies. Thank you, Emma. So now I'm back with two more hardworking fourth graders. This is Anvi and Catherine. And both Anvi and Catherine were reading about an important person that I know you've all heard of. And who was that person?
Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln, right? Abraham Lincoln did some important things, right? We know a lot of fun facts about Abraham Lincoln, like he lived in a log cabin when he was little, and he became the president of the United States, and his picture is on some different kinds of money. He's on the penny and he's on the $5 bill, and there's lots of things that are named after him. But one of the things that was very important in his life that he did when he was president was what? What was that? Say it in a big voice.
Freed the slaves.
He freed the slaves because he helped America through what's called the Civil War, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and so we were just thinking about legacy, right? So what is Abraham Lincoln's legacy all these years after he's gone?
Well, we still remember that he freed the slaves, and now it affected us because today we don't have any slavery.
Okay, do you want to add on to that, Anvi?
Uh, well,
There you go.
if Abraham Lincoln wouldn't have done that, then the world would have been different, like in a bad way.
How?
There would still be slavery, and people would be treated differently.
Right. So even all these years after Abraham Lincoln is gone, right, his legacy is that slavery is over, right? And he made the world a better place by doing that. Okay, great. Thank you for telling us that. Okay, and so thinking about legacy, we just invited another fourth grader here, Isabella, um, who we were talking together about Rosa Parks and Abraham Lincoln, and we were saying how people have a legacy, right? That is important because they did something important enough to have a biography written about them. But then Izzy was thinking that some people that we read biographies of are still alive, right? They haven't died. And so who are you reading a biography of?
Dave Pilkey.
Dave Pilkey is an author who is very much still alive, thank goodness, right? And so we were thinking, well, can people who are alive still have a legacy? And we try to think, does the important work that they did is it still there? Is it still changing the world? So, what were you thinking about Dave Pilkey and his work?
Even though he's not like he didn't pass away yet, he still has a legacy, and because he made lots of kids want to read more books that are like more funny. So he helped more kids become like um,
Good readers?
good readers.
Okay. All right. So, do you see that? Even if a person is still alive or if they've passed away, they still have a legacy. Because if you're reading a biography about a person, well, then they probably did something important enough that there's an impact today, right? So, think about the lessons that these three readers and our fourth reader that started us off, Emma, what they taught us, right? Whenever you're reading a biography about any person, right, they are probably the kind of person that did something very important that we can hang on to, whether they're still alive or not, right? And that's called legacy. So if you're reading a biography, why don't you try that too? Okay? And think about that, and I'll see you next time.